in this study that we are doing, and that is the first example that a SAI is developing in order to innovate in our classes and our practice during the time of COVID. So as a special welcome to each one of you as our principal guest today, where you are going to explain the methods and strategies that you use during your professional practice. This project is confirmed by teacher Britton, Arturo Britton, as the coordinator of the English department, Professor Celis Oces as the coordinator of education, and René Atencio, the principal for the academic area, and teacher Reinalda Arrocha from curriculum, and Yulina Mapp, who is speaking as the principal researcher in this project. So I thank each one of you and teacher Annette Duarte for helping us all through with this great project during this time of COVID.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Olina Mapp. Good. Education is a password to the future. For tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for today. La educación es el pasaporte hacia el futuro, porque el mañana les pertenece a aquellos que se preparan para el hoy. Malcolm X. On behalf of Dr. Xiomara de Arrocha, Rector of University, Eastside University, and the Joint Committee, we give you a warm welcome to this, our first investigation, virtual investigation in times of COVID. I cannot begin by not mentioning the members of who participated in this project. We have Dr. Olina Mapp, Director of Investigation, Magister Celis Oces, Coordinator of the Faculty of Education, Magister Reinalda Pimentel de Arrocha, Director of Curriculum, René Atencio, Director of Academic Department, Professor Annette Duarte, who was the, Magister Annette Duarte, who was the professor of this experience in virtual classes during COVID. Estamos dando las bienvenidas al panel de personas que participaron en este primer proyecto que fue muy peleado para que hoy día fuese presentado primero por el grupo de educación, que ayer lo presentaron, y hoy por ustedes. No sin antes darle la bienvenida a la doctora Olina Mapp, directora de investigación, a la Magister Celis Oces, coordinadora de educación, a la Magister Reinalda Pimentel de Arrocha, directora de currículum, al Magister René Atencio, director académico, a la Magister Annette Duarte, profesora supervisora del proyecto Experiencias de la práctica profesional virtual, reforzando aprendizajes. The best way to climb up the step-ladder of knowledge is through the pathways of education. Once you have ascended this first step of this ladder, the door to wisdom and opportunity will be open for you to wander through. We are rejoiced by the choice that you have made to expand your education at Eastside Universidad. By no means you have chosen one of the best professions ever. Yes, that is becoming a teacher. Being a teacher will enable you to nurture and guide the minds of children, teenagers, and even adults. The project that you're going to present today was one that we have fought really hard in order for it to be accomplished. I know that at the beginning, there were reluctancies and sometimes anxieties. Perhaps a bit of strain by some of you, but at the end of the journey, you have reached your goal. We thank you very much. La mejor manera de ascender por la escalera del conocimiento es a través de los caminos de la educación. Una vez que usted haya puesto sus pies en el primer peldaño, las puertas a un mundo de sabiduría y oportunidades se abrirán para que usted entre. Es muy grato para nosotros la elección que hayan hecho ustedes de ampliar su formación académica en ISAI Universidad. No cabe duda que han elegido una de las mejores profesiones. Sí, es decir, ser docente. Ser maestro le permitirá a usted nutrir y guiar las mentes de muchos niños, adolescentes e incluso adultos. Es importante señalar que el proyecto que ustedes van a presentar en el día de hoy fue uno en que hemos luchado para que este se lleve a cabo. Sea que al principio fueron muchas ansiedades y quizás algunos desganos, pero al final del viaje han alcanzado sus metas. Por eso le damos a cada uno de ustedes las infinitas gracias. Muchas gracias por creer en nosotros para que este proyecto hoy día se lleve y se concretice como lo estamos haciendo en el día de hoy. Ustedes son los primeros que están llevando este proyecto y, como dije, pathways, o sea, ustedes están abriendo el camino para otros estudiantes que están viendo en ustedes que sí se puede lograr las cosas cuando uno se propone. Nuevamente, muchas gracias. Continuamos.
University is preparing. Okay. Good afternoon. Today, we are going to listen all the 22 students from the group 25 and 26. It has been a long way, but finally we can be together in this day presenting our experience with all you. So we are going to start sharing all the students' experience. First, we will have Nicole from group 25. Go ahead, Nicole.
Okay, good afternoon to all present. My name is Nicole Rojas. I am a student of Technician 25. I have the pleasure to share my experience. The title of my project is COVID-19 Involved Virtual Education. Teacher in charge, Annette Duarte. I was in charge of second grade class from Estela Sierra School in Arbajan with ages between 7 and 8 years old. Thanks to the help of two teachers who work in this institution, I was able to contact the children who were part of my classes. In this opportunity, I was able to give reinforcement in English working, very interesting didactic methods, which equip the teachers towards a very innovative future in the teaching method. I am one of those persons who consider that technological means are a great tool to impart new knowledge. I was a student of what we know as homeschool for 3 years. I had the opportunity to see the operation of technological tools from the perspective of a student. Now I am from the side of you teachers. Your work is unique. It has been an incredible and rewarding experience for me. I have learned too much because with the COVID-19, we simply launched in the search for innovative but very useful tools. Thanks to the help of God and experienced teacher, I was able to move forward. With these words, I want to start my presentation. Virtual teaching resources. I use tools such as Kahoot. This allowed me to use flashcards and it was a very good platform. Also, live worship was an interesting tool because assessment can be left there for students and the page itself will grade it. I use reading to see their understanding. YouTube also was an incredible platform for them to absorb useful and didactic information. And Ed Puzzle, the kids like it very much. The methodology. The methodological strategy I used was audiovisual and repetition. These two are fundamental to teach in any environment. Now, in the technological environment, it's easier to apply. This methodology is useful because it allows the students to connect the ear with the vision, and they can remember very easily what they have learned. For example, if you see your favorite candy when you pass by a store, immediately your brain was did that candy, even to the point that one of us will end up buying it. This happens because of the connection or relationship that our mind makes about what we see our eat and our taste the palate. It is the same with teaching. We must make them love the classes, but for that we need an excellent methodology where they see it produces a sense or test for learning and will be like us, end up eating that sweet, our class. The content, the main topic I used was based on the Miduka plan. The main topic was the school, and from there I derived the other topics. For example, place in the school supplies, school object, vocabulary about the school, and WH questions. Evidence. These are the homeworks for my students. Personal experience. In the beginning, when I found out how I was going to do my practice, I felt very good because it was not suspended due to the pandemic. However, I felt overwhelmed because I had a million questions. This was going to be something new for me. As time went by, I told myself that I had to overcome my fears. I could do it, and well, now I am here. I was many hours studying, reviewing the notes of the university, looking for content that the Meduca had, useful didactic pages, reliable educational sources, use the most useful resource that a new teacher can have, and is the experience of others. For me, it was practical listening to the guide that, for example, the teacher Ana Duarte, thank you so much, give all from day one, and with that I refer to my first class at the university. Absorbing all that knowledge allowed me to have enough tools to do a good job. I was very surprised by the love of the children. It is the engine that each teacher has to continue ahead. To listen to an I love you or I don't want my class to end, that tells you that you are on the right track. To see the effort that they make to be present is unique. Many of my students did not have the resource to be in the classes. However, with the effort of their parents, they were never absent. It is there where we want to continue working. And speaking of the parents, they were a key part of all this. They were an active part of my classes since they always accompanied their children or were on the lookout. Their comments about their children's progress were here. They were very happy and grateful for the support and teaching, and that was gratifying. And that is why I summarized my experience in 3 words: dedication, love, and time.
Nicole, si ya dejaste para dejar de compartir para que puedas seguir.
No. These are the comments of the parents about my classes. Suggestion. In my personal experience as a student of this institution and as a constructor suggestion for the next student, it will be very interesting to have more computer subjects, motivation, workshop, virtual class control, use of virtual resources, practical activities. I had the opportunity to meet Professor Killian. His class was very interactive. He used interesting methods. He showed us the reality of a teacher, and the truth is that as a student, the classes should be more dynamic. In conclusion, it might have been easier to do the practice in a face-to-face way, but thanks to the circumstances, I was able to earn much more than I thought. The phrase I chose for my conclusion is this: prosperity is a great teacher, adversity a grazer. It is, and I can see that now. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Nicole, for your sharing your experience and for being so courageous to start to be the first one. Thank you for your collaboration in this. Okay, we have the next students will be Marva Brenner from group 26. Go ahead, Marva, and share your screen.
Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yes.
I acknowledges the main desk, my authorities, Good afternoon. My teacher, my coordinator, special thanks. I want to give her a special thanks, Professor Annette Duarte, for all her support and her assistance in this project, okay? Okay, let me go ahead and get started. I want to do this here. Sorry. Okay. Can everybody hear me good?
Yes, go ahead. It is in the screen. Just
Okay.
click F5. F5, you can click F5.
I'm having a little, my computer been giving me a little problem. I'm trying to get it. Ay, ay, ay. Come on. My text. Come on. Can I go ahead? Just a minute.
Okay, we see the second screen. Go ahead.
Okay. My computer is giving me a hard time. Can you see now? Okay, good.
Yes, okay.
Well, we had a course. I need to say at the beginning, my course, I had so much expectation for this course. At the beginning, I had mixed feelings. I was happy at one end because I didn't have to do any commuting, going back and forth. And then I was happy because I was able to give the classes virtually. So I had that mixed feelings. But then I went ahead and I started, and thank God everything went good. Okay, my course, the general aspects of my course were 30 days total. We started, I started on June the 15th and went all the way through July the 15th. My students, they all lived or reside in Las Mañanitas area, but they attend to school in Tocumen. Their school belongs to Tocumen. It's like 3 different schools they were part of. So I had a total of 7 students registered, but at the beginning, the first class, I had one of my students, her mother got a little upset because we weren't able to access, she weren't able to access the group. And she said, well, this is not for her, and she dropped out. So I started with 6 and I finished with 6. My students were 11 years of age. My 11th was 6th graders. Our meetings, we meet on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. My preparation days, or the class preparation days, were Tuesdays and Thursdays. At the beginning, my classes, the time we started meeting from 10 to 11. But then on July the 6th, we had classes started, and one of my students, he was so happy with the course. I decided, I spoke with the students, I spoke with the parents, everybody, and we reached an agreement that we're going to shift it from 2 to 3 in order to have him be part of the class. So from July the 6th, we then changed from 2 to 3 in the afternoon. Okay, these are my lovely students. This one here, this is Misael. He had a little trouble with connecting or with internet because he had to wait till his mom or dad be there, or his elder brother to be there to have connection, because he didn't have any connection at home. Okay, and then this is Alianis, very intelligent girl here. Javeli's intelligent also. Naomi, as soon as I was going to take the picture, she kind of take off her camera. This here is, oh gosh, I forgot her name, Jelekis and Joshua, okay? And they wanted to keep in touch but I told them, you know, they wanted us to keep the group going and everything, but I told them that's not possible. Okay, my digital resources. I used Zoom for my first meeting. My first meeting was through Zoom because not everybody had a knowledge of the Google Meet. My first meeting, I had it through Zoom with the parents. We had a very good meeting. I gave them a chance to, I had all my procedures and all my profile and everything that I needed for them to follow, but I actually let them have a way or a space to place their questions and everything like that. So we use Zoom. So that's the only time I actually use Zoom. So Google email or Gmail, we use it for all homeworks. I send the meeting, the scheduling of the meeting, I send it through Gmail. And they send me homework. I send them homework through Gmail also, and they send me back through Gmail and through WhatsApp. WhatsApp, I used to communicate with them. We had a WhatsApp group. So I notify anything that we gonna use or anything that I would need, I would do it through WhatsApp. And if any changes or anything that we're gonna place, I would do it through WhatsApp. And then Google will I took down various teaching materials. I took down several teaching materials, PowerPoint. I did a presentation through PowerPoint and YouTube. We use the videos that we actually use for the process, for the project. My methodology, I use two. The audio visual is something like what we're doing right now. I had images and I speak to them. But I also use direct method because one of my topics my topic was daily routines and activities, and it involves a lot of gestures that I could do, gestures and pictures and realities and things that we could use in order to proceed with the class. So in the process, we had them read out. I would read, they would read after me. I would say the phrase, they would say it after me. And we had a lot of repetition process there too. We had questions, and we asked the questions and everything. What are they doing? And what you think they're doing, what's happening, and they will be repeating in the whole process. Okay, my teaching resources, I kind of, because this was a reinforcement, I kind of walked through, and then we had like the personal pronouns. We had, first of all, I had the video. The video shows the daily routine. I wash my face, brush my teeth, eat my lunch, all these things. But then we had them learn how to create the form sentences in present tense. But then I went into verb B, and then we had them form sentences in present continuous. And then we kind of show them the difference between the present tense and the present continuous. We also had parts of a day. So then now they had to select and form sentences using the part of the day, and when would they apply these different routines in that part of the day. So it was a kind of package deal where we kind of include all the grammar into this topic that was daily routine. Okay, these are some evidence. As I said before, I would send the material or the teaching or the homeworks to them by mail. Some of them, because they had ink, I never did tell them they had to print it out. They could actually look at it and copy it in their notebook. But some of them actually print it out and then do the homework, and then scan it and send it back. But some of them did it in their notebook. And it wasn't, you know, I didn't put any kind of, I didn't apply any of these procedures onto them. Whatever was viable for them at the moment, whatever they were able to manage at the moment. If they had only the notebook, they look at the, open it on the screen and copy. Or if they wanted to and they had ink and they wanted to and they wanted to print it, they could go ahead and print it and do so. So this is what we had here. This over here, this one, this last one here is like a final exercise that I did with them. I had a chart, I created a chart and I sent it to them and I asked them to place which time of the day they do what, which one of the daily routines they do each time of the day. And then they go ahead and do it. And then they had to do it in present tense and they also had to do it in present continuous. Okay, my expectations at the beginning, as I said, of the course, I was thinking all kind of things. I was saying, how are we going to do this? Maybe we run out of the kids may run out of internet. How are we going to do this? Maybe this is going to happen. I had all of this going, but I have to praise God because even though I had some mishap with it, connectivity, at the end, it wasn't anything that wasn't able to be solved at the moment. So we solved it right then and there, and we were able to complete the whole process of this project. My conclusion, we're all living in a globalized world and English has emerged as the most important global language. We need English in all areas and aspects of life, and we need to be prepared for that demand. Therefore, our government needs to set aside a very important budget to meet that demand. And I need to say something extra, additional, I should say. I mean, we all, if we as a group go towards that, put that press on the government that they need to provide that budget for not only English, but for teaching and for education. They need to provide that budget and equip all what is our schools and institutions, teaching institutions and everything. And, you know, really focus on that budget and provide that budget. I think we'll be able to do a much better job. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Marva, for sharing your experience. I know you made a very great job. Okay, thank you. So we have the next students will be Orlando, I think, right? So please be ready to share your screen.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Orlando, and this is my experience in virtual reinforcement of English. For me, consists this class for 6 students, 8 each. In the classes began on June 15 and was concluded in July 17. All the students live in the West area, Bacamonte, the west side of Panama, and Vista Alegre, and all these on the Roberto Chiari School. The applications or programs that I use are these. The YouTube is the platform that we saw like musicals, education songs, which were very useful for didactic learning. And the Google Meet was the platform that we used to carry on the class in person. And the Kahoot, that is a very, very good platform to create games, didactic games to the students. And the WhatsApp was the app that I used to send the homework and connected with the parents. All the parents are very good persons. The methodology, especially that I used, was the EFL, the English, like a foreign language. the didactic games, the lingual. My content was the topic. The family members, the colors, a list of colors, the land transport. My content was mostly based on vocabularies. In order to perfect the learning, each word is a correct writing and pronunciation. Each game was based of like a mini quiz and choosing the best answer and to the pronunciation too was a very, very good technique to learning. The sons are the terms used and the family and the means of the transport too. This is my evidence. This is the words that I use, the games that I created with the child, the family members and the land transport. In my personal analysis was a very great thing to be able to carry out this type of project. Even know how complicated is everything right now, and I received biggest support of the parents and the students, and I learned very much with this opportunity. The suggestions as a specialized subject in the use of platforms and programs to create didactic games. All the students in this career have to know how to create these games and all these activities to the students, because it's not too easy, stay from the screen and the student on the other side. The student maybe can don't look at you and see whatever is going on behind him, and it's very difficult. And that's it. This is my conclusion. I am very happy because I feel that my students know at the end of this course, these classes, they're learning a lot with me, a lot words they can use in the future. I can hear the students call and they say, "Mama, mom, this is my mom," when they have to present me the mom, the grandfather, no, this is a red car, this is a green car, this is a yellow glass, and all these things. This is a very good experience to me, and thank you. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Orlando, for your experience. It was very enrichment for all of us. Okay, great. The next will be Ilka. Are you ready? Are you there, Ilka? Because she was
Yes,
having a little issues with the
I'm
internet,
right
but
here. I'm right
okay,
here.
great. Go
I
ahead.
really hope that the internet doesn't go off because right now
Okay.
I'm having a real storm right here in my house. The rain is very hard. Good
Okay.
afternoon, teachers, all the ISAI University professors, and the Ministry of Education representative. And good afternoon to all of you, my classmates. Okay, this year, I'm going to present the professional practice, my professional practice from the group TE26. Okay, due to the COVID pandemic, ISAI University opened the opportunity for us to make, for me to make my professional practice through virtual classes. It was really a good experience, and it's really nice that the university gave us this opportunity for us to be able to present this. And I think we are the first group introducing this as virtual classroom. It is an experience that will stay forever. Okay. In my group, I had the opportunity to work with kids that were 13 years old. They all came from the same school, Instituto Bautista Bern. There were 6 girls, and they really behaved very good. I really like this. Okay. In my virtual didactic resources, okay? I use many of these resources that I had already used with my normal classes. EducaPlay is a very good resource where you can find or you can create the games for the students so they can feel they can participate. English Club and Teacher Corner, both of them, they give you the opportunity for you to put inside the words or any activity you want as word search, word puzzles, and even a quiz. Okay, vocabulary spelling city also lets you review with the students any spelling or words that you need, like adjectives, adverbs, anything. All these resources are very helpful. I work with my students through the Zoom platform. Okay, it was easy. I had already had experience with this one. And I also made a lot of research for the didactic resources that will help the students obtain a great reinforcement in their daily assignments, okay? We practice each of these topics that I was presenting with games and extra online worksheets, okay? The methodology strategies that I applied was mostly as English as a foreign language, okay, EFL. In this term is used to describe the study of the English by non-native speakers in countries where English is not a dominant language. This will give the student the capacity here in Panama, because we're not a fully English-speaking country, gives the student the opportunity to be able to express and refresh them with more English. Since in Panama, they don't practice it if they go to stores, if they go to the movies. And now that we're in the pandemic, there's less practice. Students are connected to the internet in Spanish movies or video games that do not express it and do not help them with the English. Okay, among the topics that I used with my students, it was reinforcement. Let me put this over here so you can see, okay? In this school, Instituto Bautista Bern, they use the Keystone book. So I follow the same pattern to give them the reinforce. I use the same book, and since they were big girls, they really helped me give them the guidance. I mostly help them in grammar, specify in that. It was 4 topics during the weeks, because there were 4 weeks, and we saw simple past, regular and irregular verbs, comparison structure, adjectives and adverbs, simple and compound sentences, and passive form in the simple past, okay, just like a review. I had the opportunity to use the book with them and it was a little bit easier because they could see it, they could practice this, and they will send me back the practices for me to check them. We can check them online, review them, and work on them. Here are some of the papers that they work with it in the book, in the practice book. They send it to me, I revise it. We will do it online. We'll check, revise, and send it back, okay? My experience, okay? I feel like my personal experience was great. I really enjoyed the opportunity and the confidence of each of the parents that they gave me, opening the doors of their homes. You know, these girls are teenagers and it's a little bit sometimes hard. Some teachers find that it's hard to deal with teenagers these days, but I didn't find it hard, probably because they were only 6. I know it's different when you go to a real classroom and you are with 28, 30, or 40 teenagers at the same time. But this virtual classroom, I had the opportunity since they were 6 to have fun. And they behaved very good. And I even found that they were really helpful to me. since, like, you know, all the teenagers, they are more technical than us. So in a way, sometimes when we were in Zoom class, they will help me to get the activities on because they're more technical in this topic. And I always told them, like, well, this is like a two-way help. You help me in technology and I help you in the English. So we got along very good, and it was a great experience. I also did a lot of research on how to work with teenagers, and this really helped me a lot. I always had for them interactive activities because teenagers, they need to be doing something, okay? And they will not get bored. They will always like in there. And I also researched for some things, like some things that the teenagers like at this time, at this moment in life. So I kind of coordinated my classes to be with the topics that they like at this age. And this really made it fun. Okay, this gave me the opportunity to enjoy the class, and I could see that the girls did too. Still today, I'm in contact with the girls and the group, and sometimes they write me back and they ask me for help, and I keep on helping them through all this time. Now, I would like to give 3 recommendations for teachers. When you're gonna give your class, these 3 small recommendations. It is very important to keep your videos short. If you put a long video, it would really bore the student. It's better to be just a short one, and then you stop it and you give explanation to it. This will give more interactive class. And the second recommendation, it is good, like we did before the presentation right now, that we should test our slides. Test it, have everything ready, so when the class is gonna begin, you're ready with everything and you know that everything is functioning well. This is a good recommendation, not to get messed up. I had the opportunity to be with big girls, but if you have little kids, it's gonna be like, even if they get bored or they will start making noise, and it will stress you a little bit if you're not ready to it. And provide interactive activities. It is very good that the students, there are many online activities where you let the students participate, where you let the student, they're able to click on the button, they're able to see the results. And this will make the class a little bit more interactive and fun, okay? My conclusion, I would like to conclude expressing my thanks to the university first for giving this great opportunity in this pandemic time and letting us finish and accomplish our professional practice in a great, innovating way, the virtual classes. I think we're the first ones in here. And last thing, I want to thank teacher Annette Duarte for her great help and dedication. Thanks, teacher, for opening your home at any time, because no matter what time we call her, well, I call her, I chat her, she was always there to answer me. She's always ready to give us a tip, to give us an advice, no matter what time. Thank you so much because we had so many questions, and she was always in there to help us and always telling us, be calm, nothing's gonna happen, you're gonna do it. Thanks for having that great confidence in us. Thank you, teacher Annette. Thank you for helping me accomplish my goal.
Okay, thank you, Ilka. I really appreciate your comments. And I know it has been a good experience for you and for all the participants here. Okay, we continue then with the next would be Astrid Carrasquilla from group 26. Go ahead, Astrid.
Yes. I'm going to share my screen. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to present my final project, my professional practice. To start, a quote: "The influence of a good teacher can never be erased." Okay, to introduction, my students, they have 6, 10 years to 11 years. They live in Pacora, 24 de Diciembre, and Las Garzas. The first class was on July 15, and the last class was on July 17. As a virtual educational resource, I use Google Classroom. The parents and students didn't know how to use it, but I taught them how to view the different resources that I put in this platform and how to use it. I taught them, I think that this tool is easy to use, that I introduce to the parents how to use. Second, Google Meet to the virtual meetings. I use to the schedule the meetings on the Google Calendar. YouTube to search for videos related to the topics. I taught to the parents how can they see in Google Classroom, and I put the links in Google Classroom. WhatsApp. I think WhatsApp is an important virtual resource because in WhatsApp we have directly communication to the parents and the students. And next, methodological strategy. We teach using EFL, and my methodological strategy was audiolingual, and it method advised that students should be taught a language directly without using the student's native language to explain the new words or grammar in target language. Audiovisual is instruction where particular attention is paid to the audio and the visual presentation of the material, with the goal of improvement, comprehension, and retention. Okay, the topic that I chose was the food pyramid. I took the fruit and vegetables themes. Okay, these are some vocabularies that the students sent to me to the some fruits and vegetables and food. There is some tests that I put on Google Classroom. Okay, my personal analysis of the life experience. Okay, I would like to share 2 opinions of my students at the end of the classes. From my students, okay. One of them, I want to keep learning English. And second, I want to continue in virtual classes. From here, my personal analysis. We looked to the most practical way that I will to fit our way of life, schedules, virtual platforms, learning methods, everything. We just need something, children. And we have everything, a house to stay in, a computer or cell phone with internet to connect us. If not, we find a way to make the virtual classes possible. The students who maybe didn't know how to use the virtual platforms because we had to reinvent ourselves and we had to reinvent them. and how to teach them. None of the above was a problem for me. I like to close with a phrase: be the person you need when you were younger. And to conclude, my suggestions. So for parents and for the students, familiarize with the virtual platforms. For the parents, more interest in education, because the parents are not interested in the education for their kids, and I think was a problem. And for the university, educational follow-up for the same children with different teachers. Okay, I explain. The teacher needed to look for same age students. It takes time to do that. I think create a program for 3 months. The following teacher who have to do their professional practice will have the same children for the previous group. This is for 3 months. And to conclusion, quote, education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself. I think if you teach as you would like to be taught, you are a good teacher. Thank you.
Thank you, Astrid, for sharing your experience. And I know you learned a lot with all this. Thank you very much. Okay, we continue and we go ahead with Dayanis from group 25. Okay, go ahead, Dayanis.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Dayanis Castillo. I'm going to present my project about professional practice. Introduction. This presentation is about my virtual final practice. This practice was conducted with 6 students aged 6 to 7, all of whom are currently in first grade. The practice was done over a period of 4 weeks. In this work, I express my experience and I consider this project a strength along the way as a teacher. Virtual didactic resource used with students. I use video calls. I call to the student to connect to the class 3 times a week. I use this resource because in my area, the internet is difficult. For that reason, I don't use another platform. I use YouTube because it's a very important resource. I can search interactive videos about the topics covered in the contents. I use WhatsApp, Gmail. Methodological strategy. For the situation, this form is the best for teach. For that reason, I use audiovisual method. It's a method which refers to both sounds and pictures, which is typically in the form of a slide or video, and record speech or music. All is visual presentations that are shown by the teacher to the students. Communicative approach are the activities that are carried out during the class, emphasize communication and foreign language learning. Is given to teachers and students interaction that with the use of vocabularies, questions, and activities apply knowledge learned from a foreign language. Contents. The topics were taken for the Meduca planning in the units of health, nutrition, and food. The topics were pyramid food and kind of food. With them, I reinforced the knowledge with the students. During the class, I used flashcards, vocabularies, watch videos, a board with information on the topics, and at the beginning of the classes, I used some puppets. evidence. I show some evidence about my video calls and some homework of the students. This is a short video about our students.
Good morning, teacher Dayani. My name is Ana Camila Segundo Castillo. Healthy and unhealthy food. Healthy food is a variety of food with nutrients to feel good. Example, fruits, bread, eggs, and fish. Unhealthy food contains high levels of calories for our body. Example, candies, cookies, hot dog, and pizza. Thank you.
I am very proud with this video because the student understood very good the topics in the classes. Experience, learning. This project for me has been learning all the times, learning with new projects, learning in new opportunities, and learning a new experience, learning a new technologies too, perseverance. During the realization of this practice, there were some inconveniences, but with a lot of effort and dedication, today have been able to achieve it and finish my professional practice successfully. New experience. This is a new experience for me because I use new technologies and another phone to teach. Suggestions. That the classes are more active since significant learning can be achieved. Offer students knowledge that be of great use to them throughout their lives. Limitations. At the beginning of the practice, I had some limitations. I mentioned the internet was very difficult, but for that reason, I don't use Zoom or another platform. And the other limitation was to get the students the same age, but finally, I can realize the project with successfully. Conclusion. Professional practice allows us to develop skills and abilities, academic knowledge that prepares us to play the role of a good teaching professional. Now I feel very good with my job. I'm very good with all the information. I'm very good with my experience during the projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Dajanis, and also for sharing that beautiful video about your student. That she is amazing, and we know that she was really enjoying the class. Thank you very much. Okay, we continue with the next. Will be Juicy Barranco from Group 25.
Hi,
Hello,
it's Yusi Quiroz.
Kiro. Sorry.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Yusi Quiroz, and I'm very happy and very thankful for the opportunity to share with you this project. This was really a challenge, but more than that, it was a very enrichment experience. I was able to know that not just I needed it, but the kids I talked to and the kids I thought I was teaching, they needed that experience as well. I'm also thankful for my family and also to Mrs. Annette Duarte, who was a wonderful guide in guiding us through this process. First, I will begin by quoting the words from Matthew 8:4-5 that says, "And whoso shall receive one such little child in my name receives me." I had the opportunity to work with kids from the school Belisario Porras, which is in San Francisco, Street 74, East Panama. And I had students for about a month. It was a total of 6 students from the kindergarten level, 5 years old, all of them. And this was their first experience ever with the language. And we scheduled to meet 3 times a week for 40 minutes. Our distant learning process was using the Zoom meeting platform. Is what we mostly used. The teaching resources that I used were a lot and were a great variety because it was needed due to the distant learning experience. It's a lot different than when you are working in site or in front of the kids. So basically, I needed to use a lot of videos. The Zoom application has this sharing thing that we're using right now, and it led me to share a lot of videos and songs that would enable the kids to practice the vocabulary and to develop the hearing of this foreign language for them. I also use Puppet, which is a hobby that I had in my heart way before the pandemic. So thanks God I was prepared and I had already purchased these beautiful puppets that you see on the screen. And besides that, I also use a whiteboard, as is shown in the picture, a small whiteboard. I was able to make drawings and guide the kids in certain words. One of the resources that I had to use the most was the enthusiastic spirit that I needed to have for these kids. There was a way more mimic and gestures to be done than in person because they could only see me through the little screen. So I had to be very dramatic in gestures, in mimic, almost like a clown for them. So that was like my main tool to let them know that they were doing fine whenever they try to speak and pronounce the vocabulary. Also, as you see, I also use PowerPoint games, PowerPoint virtual flashcards. I also use flashcards, plastified flashcards with a felt board, as you can see in the picture. And I also use other pictures. I noticed that during distant learning, you could take a picture and just point it at the camera and it would just look like a great, beautiful picture. And it was just a small, tiny picture. So I use lots of different sizes of pictures and I use different kind of puppets and even objects. The methodology approach that I used was TEFL, which TEFL stands for English as a Foreign Language. English as a foreign language merely basically helps the student that is a non-native speaker and that lives in a non-English speaker country to have the main vocabulary needed to express themselves. I also found out, studying and researching through how TEFL really is applied, that TEFL do not leave the language aside like the immerse method does. TEFL actually uses the native language, in this case, Spanish, to help the kids acquire that new language. And how is that? Like, for example, if I were gonna teach colors, I had to make sure they knew their colors in Spanish first and they knew what it was, so they could relate it to the new word. And that was enough for them to make that link of reference in their brain and be able to include the new knowledge. We also use Play-Doh. They would do their jobs and then show them on the camera, as you can see in the picture. And they also send their jobs through WhatsApp through their parents. These TFL methods, it's amazing. I really like it. And I think that with that, I accomplished what I was expecting from them. We also had a crazy hat day, as you can see in the picture, where they would bring their crazy hat that they could create at home. We also had a bring your favorite toy to the camera day, where they could bring a toy that they prefer, and they would describe the toy. They would describe what color is it, and they will even be able to describe shapes. We also had games, Zoom games, which is I will ask them, stand up and go and find in the room an object that is red, for example. And they would go and they would run around the room and get an object that was red or green. So that would get them moving from the chair, and it get them enthusiastic and just happy to be in there. So it was not a boring class just sitting in front of that computer, for they could have game and laugh and share with their who brought the toy first in the camera and so on. The teaching content that I used was taken from Educa, from K-5 or kindergarten program. It started with greetings. Then we went into family with greetings. The goal was to make the students to be able to greet other people using 1 or 2 words only. Family, parts of the house, and shapes and colors. And once again, you can see on the screen all sort of different puppets, flashcards that I had. And I also found out that students like to receive a prize. And since I couldn't give them a candy or a sticker because I couldn't reach out to them, if I would just show in the camera, for example, a star that you can see in the screen, they would be so happy, like, oh, I earned a star, or oh, I earned a doggy. And that was really amazing to see how kids really get to feel that they earn something, even if it's through a camera. The learning outcome, I think that the best learning outcome that I can say is to see the kids smile. It's to see that they were able to look forward to a time when they had classes and they could dress up, sit down, and have fun. And their happy experience was the best. I showing there in the pictures, the students showing their work. And let me go ahead now and talk about my experience. Teaching online, it's a lot of work, and it's not less work than teaching in person. I had to research a lot on what I needed. I needed to have enough lighting, nice background, props, and be very creative, as I mentioned before. So I think that my experience positive. I'm so happy, I'm so glad that I had the opportunity, and that I look forward into stepping us forward in this new technique right away after the pandemic started. So I'm really happy about my experience, and I just want to close with the same words from Matthew 8:4-5. Remember that, and whoso shall receive one such little child in my name received me. So thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Profe, no se le oye.
Sorry. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Juicy, for sharing your experience. Okay, so we continue with Jasmina from group 26. So go ahead, Jasmina, please.
Okay, hi.
Hello, go ahead.
Hello.
It's low.
Hello.
Yes, can you, it's a little bit low, the volume. Could you speak a little bit louder? Just to, okay?
Okay. Good afternoon, teacher, general public. My name is Jasmine Small. I am going to talk to you about the virtual class of reinforcement in English. I made my professional practice with 6 children of the 8 years. We studied the 3rd grade in different public schools in the area of San Miguelito and Las Cumbres. This course lasts 10 a month. The classes begin on June 15 and finishing on July 10. For this project, I use different means to teach the reinforcement, such as the Zoom platform, where the students do their virtual class, reading the same to complement the class. I place a PowerPoint, video, online practice through the Learn platform, English, and quizzes. Also, to make the classes more enjoyable, I use the realia technique through puppet, toys, flashcards, among others. The methodology I used was ESL, foreign language. ESL instruction is for students who speak a language other than English and who have limited knowledge of English. ESL teacher help students learn English. To make this possible, I maintained an oral and communicate approach through audiovisual, realia, and repetition method. My strategy to get the children's attention was to use a puppet Mary, who began the teacher assistant, but she did not speak Spanish, and the children have to communicate with her in English. Another method I used was to place family cartoon figure of the PowerPoint to hear their attention. The first thing I did was to look for the model of the subject taught in that grade provided by the Meduca, Ministry of Education, for all the public schools in Panama. We practice the subject of the family, how many has objective to correctly identify the member of the family. Part of the house, identify vocabulary related to place and furniture. Means of transport, establish the difference in routes used by the means of transport, listening of transport. Having the topic at hand, I set out to do my monthly, weekly, and daily planning. Find my teaching material, make my puppet, and all my support material to teach this class. Okay, this is the homework and children's work. The topic is the family and the part of the house. This is the practice, online practice and certificate for culminating amount of English reinforcement. My experience. This project has been of edification, have more for the student and for the teacher. Since we have learned to take the education to another technological level, and us, we contribute with a contribution but for all country. At the beginning, I feel a little worried about the acceptance of the children in the new methodology virtual class, but my surprise was great when I say the motivation that the children present when carried out each class. I feel happy. Thank you, God, for allowing me this beautiful experience in my daily life. Suggestion: including more computer subjects in public school, provide education resource, give virtual classroom control workshop. My conclusion: never consider study as an obligation, but as an opportunity to penetrate the beautiful and wonderful world of knowledge. Albert Einstein. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Jasmina, for your experience and for sharing this with us. Okay, we continue then with Deborah from group 25. Deborah, are you there? All right, Deborah is not there.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, go ahead, Deborah.
Okay.
Great,
Okay.
we watch you.
Good
Go ahead.
afternoon. Good afternoon. I am teacher Deborah McKay, and today I have the pleasure to present my experience of the professional practice. I have the opportunity to share my knowledge with second grade students from Dr. Belisario Porras School, located at Panama City, San Francisco, Street 74. The age of the student goes from 7 to 8 years. They live in places like Ato Pitado, Pueblo Nuevo, and San Francisco. We start our online classes from June 15 to July 17, 4 weeks in total. Classes of 45 minutes given 3 times a week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay. Virtual didactic resource. We review science class related to the part of the plan, their function, needs, and classification, using tools like Zoom, Google Meet, YouTube, and PowerPoint presentation for the online classes. Methodologies. One of the methodologies I used was EFL, English as a Foreign Language, indicate the teaching of English in a non-English speaking region. I use repetition to familiarize the student to the vocabulary and for a repeat vocally the content of the class so they get pronunciation and meaning at the same time. Strategies. Flashcards, craft, yes, no question. The intention of the flashcard is for students to relate the image, how they're writing and their pronunciation. The craft has what made to give the class a personal touch and present the class with visual aids for yes or no questions. Also explain part of the planned class. The content, based on the content of Meduca animal plants. In the first week, we saw the part of the plant, flower, leaf, root, seed, and stem. The second week, plants need water, air, soil, sun, nutrients, space. The third week, the life cycle of the plant, learn that all living things, plants are born, they grow, reproduce, and die. In the last class, we saw the classification. Here the classification was done in 2 groups. First, if a plant was a fruit or vegetable, and another classification that relate to the edible plants and the parts of them we eat. We also make an activity at home lab Half students were asked to take a bean, a planet, report what they saw during the first step of the life cycle of the plant. Also, we get an online theater as part of the celebration of the Children's Day at the end of our online class, and due to the fact that pandemic increased a challenge for regular and of course parties, I invite the class to online theater presentation for kids called it Fruity Party. The play focused on how eating fruit and vegetables is good for the health. As you can see at the bottom of the left corner, there is one of the actors play as a human, and in the bottom right corner, you can see another actor play as a pineapple. Personal of the experience. At the end of this beautiful experience, I was left my satisfaction reached the objects, and I understood that we have to know how to learn, to know how to teach, that the only reliable methodology is of the vocation. Okay, my suggestion is that government take into consideration the accessibility requirements of people with special needs, in addition, economic internet access. In conclusion, this was a positive experience, enriched my knowledge of virtual classes. My conclusion is that we have to teach from the brain of the learner, not from the brain of the teachers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deborah, for sharing your experience. You made a great job. Okay, thank you. We continue then with Iluminada from group 26. Please
Yes,
go ahead.
Good
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Okay. Good afternoon, Professor Annette Duarte, Professor Britton Arturo, ESI's authorities, and classmates. Today, I have the pleasure to present my personal experience. My name is Iluminada Bernaza Dureña. During the professional practice, I worked with 8 children. They were about 6 years old. The majority of them live very close to my area, Santa Librada, Las Cumbres. I had the opportunity to go through internet and found a lot of platforms to work with my kids, but I chose soon WhatsApp, which helped me a lot with my virtual class. Resources. I use English Learn Only Online is for all the age. In British Council Learn English Kid. Twinkling created this page to create this activity, the activity for your students. Walrus song and video. Walrus is my favorite site because it's sung as a worksheet for work. I use the methodology based on EFL. EFL, which is taught to students in a foreign, non-English speaking country. I look up listening activities such as song, dialogue, reading short story, speaking to reinforce the pronunciation, reading to reinforce the activity. Music is a prevention tool that encourages language retention and production in young children. The music will help our students succeed at foreign language learning. through the use of some can express themselves freely in addition to acquiring knowledge in a playful and interactive way through the game and some content of my student. I taught the children some topic, the gradients, the color chain, family members, human, body, the body color, commons, action verb. We practice evidence of application with students. We practice some topic to work more. I provide the photocopy to my student. Here is the certificate to my students. My experience at the beginning of my learning practice, I go a little nervous, but with a lot of desire to teach what I had learning. Thanks to go on to many tools that were my help at the time. I was able to achieve my goal with the children. I communicate spontaneously and naturally without straight out. To put in 2 words, it could say it was wonderful. My suggestion is Meduca to provide smartphone and tablet to the students, to provide notebook and books, free internet for every student. The conclusion, a teacher works for eternity. No one can predict its influence. A teacher work will end. Okay, thanks. I want to thank God, the teacher, the great opportunity, I know formal way to teacher and Eduardo, who was willing us everywhere week for every problem we had and her encouraging words that we could finish our work successfully. Thank you, teacher. Finish.
Okay, thank you, Iluminada, for sharing your experience. Please, we continue with the next student. It will be Dianette from group 25. Go ahead, Dianette. Thank you.
Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Nelson Mandela. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Janet Richard, and I have the pleasure of presenting you the support of my professional practice. Introduction. Like many of my classmates, I had the opportunity to do my professional practice virtually, and it has been a learning experience. And I worked with 7 children who were 10 years old from the 5th grade level. They lived in the 24th of December area, and these virtual classes were possible thanks to the Zoom platform. Virtual teaching resources. The virtual teaching resources that I used during my professional practice were Zoom, PowerPoint, YouTube, Celebrity.com, Genially.com, Jamboard.com, and WhatsApp. And I use, as I mentioned before, Zoom was the means used to connect with my students so I could interact with them and teach them. PowerPoint, I use PowerPoint to present each topic. Every topic included reading assignments, homework assignments, activities to do in class, and link to other web pages for activities. YouTube was the website that I used to share educational videos. Celebrity.com was another great platform that I used The games provided there help me to reinforce each topic. Genially.com, I use Genially.com to create two customized games that I use at the end of my professional practice as a final test. And Jamboard.com was my digital whiteboard that I use sometimes, but I also use a small real whiteboard during my classes. And WhatsApp was the main used to communicate with parents and students. Methodological strategies. The methodological strategies that I used during my professional practice were audiovisual, communicative approach, and gamification. With audiovisual, my lessons always started with a music video as a method to introduce the topic. This method enhances student learning because it creates a more inviting atmosphere. Communicative approach. With communicative approach, I use a lot of role-playing dialogues. Having the students read and speak out loud help them to develop more confidence and the possibility to interact with one another. And gamification, this is an educational approach to motivate students to learn by using interactive games. And in my classes, I use a lot of games. Content. Okay, I chose to teach my students present simple and present progressive tense. So we talk about daily routines, times of the day. We talk about what they usually do in a specific time of the day. My students were able to describe what they were doing in the moment of speaking, as in right now, and they were able to ask questions and answers in the present progressive tense. And one of the things we focused on with the present progressive tense was using questions in regard to places like, where are you going? So here we have this evidence. This picture was taken one day before I finished the course, and I had the opportunity to go to each one of the student houses and give them a certificate of participation for their effort and dedication in this subject. In this slide, we can see some activities that we did in classes, and we can see also one of the tasks done by one student. Personal analysis. If I have to describe this experience, I would say it was a learning experience, personal growth, and dedication. It has been a learning experience because I have been able to learn to handle platforms that I never used before, and I have been able to integrate technology in my lessons, and I have been able to integrate fun and dynamic strategies in the teaching and learning process. It has been a personal growth because I think that I realized that not all the students and not all the teachers have the same access to technology. And I think that everyone should have access to visual learning. However, the reality is different. But as a teacher, I consider that we have to understand them, because sometimes it's not because they don't want to, but because they can't. And dedication, I felt dedicated and committed to my work and my students' success. I was always willing to help them and give them my time. Suggestions. And training for online teaching and accessible resources. I think that it's important to train teachers in this new modality, and it's important to continue learning and adapting to changes. Accessible resources. Many educational institutions are able to get access to technological products like Microsoft 365 or other platforms at a reduced cost or free for students use. So I think that that will be a really great help for everyone. My conclusions. Well, in my conclusions, I am grateful for the help that I received during this time from my God, from my family, from my classmates, from my professors, especially Professor Annette. Thank you for your support and encouragement until the end. And I hope to continue to build on this experience and implement the knowledge and skills that I learned during these last years in my personal and professional life. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dianette, for your experience and for sharing with us in such great way. Okay, so we continue then with Lavette from group 25. Lavette, are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon, fellow teachers. My name is Lavette Sirs. In this afternoon, I'm going to talk about my professional practice and my experience. In this work, I express the real experience of the development of my teaching practice. I consider that professional practice constitutes a generator of knowledge and is a fundamental element for our training as a teacher. Teaching practice conceived in a double sense as a teacher practice, typical of any process. Training as appropriation of teaching profession, how to start, improve, and update in a practice of teaching. Virtual teaching resource. The virtual resource that I used with my students was Google Meet. I use this system because it allowed me to spend more time with the students. With the parents, I use a text message, WhatsApp. In personal, I use computer. The students use cell phone. On some occasions, the communication was not effective due to the internet, but that not was an obstacle to finish safely. Methodological that I use with a student. I use the audiovisual. Audiovisual is a method we refer to both sound and picture, which typical in form of slide video and record speech or music. All is visual presentations that are shown by the teacher to the student. The next method that I used was EFL. In a country where English is not the dominant language, students share the same language and culture. Outside of the classroom, students have very few opportunities to use English. That's why I use EFL. Content discussed with the student. The content that I discussed with the student was 2 themes, feelings and body parts. This theme was taken by the planning of Meduca to rate for the student. We worked with flashcards, I made some puppets, we see video, we sing song, according to the each reinforcement student. Personal analysis of life experience. The professional practice for me was an important process in my life because they marked something definite in me, is that I will continue in teaching. I ended up falling in love with this wonderful profession that has no comparison. And being teacher is something more than a vocation. It's the mind of the students and the main material, something not simple that requires enormous work. I realize that education is a commitment, responsibility, vocation for what we do. Experience like this marked life and helped me strengthen my knowledge. Evidence that I use with the student. We have here what we do with the student online. They sing song, they practice with the flashcard. I decorate the bulletin board. I make a big puppet to practice the part of the body. And here some students making homework. Also, I make little puppet to sing beginning of the classroom and finish the class. Suggestion. It is important to understand how the online learning methodology works. It's very different from the classroom in relation to the study dynamic, but it's the same as because it's made of human beings. Success in a virtual class, of course, depends on motivation, self-discipline, commitment, and participation. For example, number 1, assign suitable environment, choose a quiet, bright environment, and with the necessary space so that the student or you can function normally. 2, it is essential to check the device to be used, such as computer, microphone, camera, and the internet connection are working correctly. Number 3, and finally, it is important to be clear about what we're going to do for accessing virtual class, such as password and username. In conclusion of my work, the development of the virtual practice of English, the progress in the construction of communication process occurred thanks to the interaction of the subject involved in the student teaching process. This project has been important because state that the new technology are inaccessible resource or possibility of the development of writing expression of the English language. I want to give thanks to the teacher Annette for joining us in this project, my family, and special my cousin Yolanda to help me in everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Lavette, for your contribution to this project with your experience. Okay, we continue then with Siobhan. Are you ready, Siobhan?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, go ahead. You have the floor.
An excellent teacher is who, having a little teaching, makes bear in the students to get a great learn. Arturo Graves. Good afternoon. I'm going to present my teaching practice in form. General introduction. The current pandemic situation has put virtual education on the table as an opportunity for education to continue to operate, allowing unlimited learning research in virtual classrooms such as a simulator and practical exercise, as well as a set to multiply scientific journal, database, and remote access book. My virtual learning research, I use WhatsApp to communicate with the students and their parents. Through WhatsApp, I send the activity and instruction. Also, I use Zoom platform to interact with the children. I apply audiovisual because I consider it is a channel through the ear, listening to dialogues, and the eyes to observing the situation. The topic content with students, I refer health, nutrition, and food. First, healthy food and unhealthy food. I put it to make flashcard and pyramid food, drying
of the pyramid, countdown or no countdown, then make a video. Simple present tense, fill the blanks, that food, what do you like? Here we have my evidence. Here we see the picture of the video conference, the students doing their activities, and here we have a video with activity. Here we have, and with my children, I had our garden. Here we can see all my students. And at the end of the reinforcement, I gave them a certificate. My experience through this methodology, this modality, I was able to see students assess content and classmates from any device, anywhere. Students learn from both your teacher and your classmates. Students are protagonists of your education in the framework of active and participation learning. My experience in this practice, in this new modality, between errors, at the end, I understood that whenever we have vocation, in any situation, we can acquire good results with few or many teaching factors. My suggestion, as a teacher, we always have to have a plan B, because no, in this situation, we depending with the 70% of the technology, and in situation, the technology have defect. Conclusion. In the middle of this modality, many techniques we can develop, but we don't have to stay like a traditional teacher, as well as an innovator teacher, because we doesn't go forefront, and we can never go on in hand with the education. My thanks of all, first to God and to the teacher Annette Duarte, who available with us 24/7 hours, innovating with their virtual tools of education. And also to relevant ISAI authority, because they made this project a reality opportunity to we can make or professional practice, sorry. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Siobhan, for sharing your experience with us. Okay, we continue with this. We continue with Rosalind from group 25. Are you here, Rosalind?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon, teacher. My name is Rosalind Arce. Today, I talk about my project professional practice. Okay, introduction. My children were 8 years old when I did my professional practice. They belong to the Panama Christian Academy. They are in the 3rd grade at the school. They belong to different areas of the city. My virtual didactic resource, platform Zoom, PowerPoint, English Learn Online, YouTube, and others. Audiovisual methodology, because provide opportunity for effective communication between teacher and student in learning. For example, in a study of English or other language as a foreign language EFL classes, the difficulties faced by the EFL student are lack of motivation, lack of exposure to the target language, and lack of pronunciation on the part of the teacher, and such difficulties can be overcome through audio as a communication purpose and visual as greater exposure. My content, I use monthly and weekly planning, or my days of class were today, Wednesday, and Thursday, and use Meduca planning. In the subject social studies, the month of June, the topics means of transportation and communication, the learn objective, identify and recognize means transportation and communication. These are the different jobs of my children in the evidence. Self-analysis. I felt a little stressed because I had no idea how I was going to run the virtual platform to be able to carry on my professional practice. Then one of my limitations that I consider to be that even though I had knowledge of this virtual platform, at the end, I think I carried out my expectations regarding the children's learning of a language as they and the parents were placed with it. Suggestion, there should be more training for teachers so that they know how to use this virtual platform and be able to provide the best to their students in the distant learning process. Receive more support from the government so that all students and teachers have access to much needed technology. My conclusion, I feel happy with my work, very happy, because I know that in the end, I will achieve significant learning. But it's also important to point out that the audiovisual method is effective, but must be taken moderately so as not to bore our students. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Rosalind, for sharing your experience, okay, with us. Then we have the next student will be Samiha Jasad from group 25. Are you there, Samiha?
Yes.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Good evening. Sorry, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, it's a pleasure for me so that I am able to share my experience with you about my professional practice. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my project. I have been working for a month with a group of students that are 14 and 15 years old, giving them English reinforcement classes from Monday to Friday through Zoom platform. Where first of all, I have to talk to parents so that I can
It something happened with the audio? Does anyone?
It seemed that she had some problem with her internet connection, probably.
Okay. Yes, it's like a microphone because she has the screen share, but it is like a device that is
I
not.
think it freezes.
It's frozen. Samiha, your screen is frozen.
You start to share again. So, all right, Samiha, if you have like a hardware problem with your microphone or any other device, just go ahead and try to fix it offline. And so when you are ready, you let me know in a chat, okay? So we continue then with the next. So it will be Jami. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so go ahead and share your presentation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, professors. My name is Yusi Barrancos. I'm going to be sharing with you about my experience during my professional practice. I had the privilege to share with a group of 9 children from Dr. Belisario Porras School, located in San Francisco. All of them are preschool children between the ages of 5 to 6 years old. The teacher in charge is Diana Alonso, teacher Diana Alonso. We met 3 days a week during a month. We started on June 17 to July 17. I spent a few days looking for tutorials and ideas on how to teach preschoolers through a virtual environment and what kind of resources to use to make the most of time and keep them engaged during the lesson. I used the Zoom platform in payment mode to not have the pressure of time during the 45 minutes. Some of the didactic resources I used was a software called Manicam, which allowed me to use very colorful backgrounds and fun images for the children to keep them engaged during lesson time. I use several teaching props to get the kids' attention and make it fun and entertaining. I use puppets, realia to motivate the students and relate to their lives at home. I use toys, whiteboard, magnetic flashcards, virtual flashcards, PowerPoint games for high engagement. As for the teaching method, I use the EFL method, English as a Foreign Language. I use audiovisual method using games, songs, and videos. I use the audio lingual using class routines and a communicative approach. So let me show you a short video of one of the classes. Y todo eso, what color is it? What color is it? All the things you have, what color? Red. Color red, good job. So let's see. Mrs. Emily, show me your homework. Good job, Emily. What do you have there? Show me. Good. A heart.
Hi.
What is that? A star? Letter E.
I see it's
Good job.
Strawberry.
Strawberry, qué rico. Okay, Mr. Joseph. Y todo es lesson content. It was based on the content of Meduca, Unit 1, on family, school, and community, a topic for each week. This was family and greetings, parts of the house, shapes and colors, parts of the body and 5 senses. And here you can see some of the work and tasks done by the kids. I cannot forget to mention the collaboration of the parents during this time, which was of great help for the students and for me. My experience. The development of this professional practice was a great challenge for me. This year took a big turn for all of us with the pandemic that we're going through. And we had to learn new ways to teach. So it was not easy. We were not prepared for this change. But at the end, I can describe my experience in 3 words: self-teaching, creativity, and a big smile. So I thank my family, I thank God, I thank teacher Annette Duarte for allowing me to enjoy this experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yami, for sharing your experience with us. We continue then with the next student. It is Jordan. Jordan there. Hello?
Yeah, I'm right here. Give me a moment.
Okay, go ahead. Great.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Blessings. I'm going to talk about my professional practice. For now, in my project, I gave classes to 2nd grade children, and also from the school, Belisario Porras, and they had 7 and 8 years. But by the way, there's some parents that had some problem with the internet. I mean, it wasn't that strong to stay online. So since several occasions, I need to repeat the classes again. Or there's some of them that stayed out, and I stayed at the end with 3 kids. The classes begin at 11 o'clock in the morning until 12 o'clock in the afternoon. About my Zoom platform, I use this platform because for me it was easier to use it, and also easier for the kids because there's some kids that had a notion using this platform, so it was easier for me to explain them how to use it. And you could see at the image, we have Where is the Baby Monkey? That was a strategies, that was a game that I was using. The monkey could be in the kitchen, could be in the living room, could be at the bathroom, and the kids got a point, where is the monkey? In my methodology, I use a lot of drawings and paintings, and as a support with the vocabulary, which was important because that helped them manage and know what we were talking about. Give me a moment because these got froze. Having problem with the internet. Let me see if it could change or just. Okay. Oh man. Okay, as you could see at the image, I use this methodology because, you know, kids love painting and love drawings. Things that you paint could call them the attention. And that was the homework I gave them to do. There's some several things as shapes or numbers or fruits or vegetables. I make them to draw and then send it to the WhatsApp. And that was giving them some confidence because by drawing them and putting their names, at the end, I was making a little test to see, and I put, for example, fruit, and they were saying that, and they was giving the name of the fruit, and the same as I put the name, and I will put in the fruit, and they was giving the same thing. And then I know that was the correct methodology. As you could see, as an object, express their feeling from the family. I gave them family also. And also, as you could see on family, we have the mother, father, brothers, and I make a game with that. You could see even the kids saying, hello, mother, or my mother, I'm going to start the class. So I know that methodology helped them a lot. About the shapes also, I put the shapes without no name, and they was classifying, saying the name of the shape, which is important, and also the colors. As you could see, my methodology was with paint. So it means that when I was saying, for example, what fruit it is and what color is it, the kids was saying it. Different kind of methodology that I've been using, and the kids was improving, and I know they was getting it because they were saying it correctly, even the numbers. On my experience, it's important to learn about this type of technology. This is a test because, nobody expected this to happen. And really, in my case, this was really, I needed to do a lot of research to get the information and try to adapt myself into this platform, because I did not have no notion about it, but now I am. And I know we're going to be learning several other things, because as this thing could happen other things, and we're going to be learning more. Okay, that image is because it was kind of difficult to do the planification and the weekly because of my job, but it wasn't something too difficult to accomplish. I make my best, and also I had my teacher Annette support, which I'm really thankful for that. And the important thing that I make this through, my job was too difficult, but I make my presentation and everything, and I'm glad, thanks God. And on my conclusion, we all know this situation. It won't stay. Could have another situation, and there's another thing we're going to be learning like this that had us out of guard, because there's a lot of persons that doesn't know about this, but now we are. And I really thanks my teacher Annette and the other integrant from the group. Thanks.
Hi, Jordan. Thank you for sharing your experience. I know how hard it was for you do your job, but you finally could complete this successfully. Thank you. Okay. The next, we are going to give you a chance to Samiha, okay, because she is online again. So we continue with Samiha. Are you there? Can you share?
Yes, ma'am. Let me share my screen.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure for me today being here presenting my professional practice project. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my project. I have been working for a month with a group of 14 and 15 years old students, giving them English reinforcement classes from Monday to Friday using the Zoom platform. Okay, these classes, I made a schedule. It includes 3 periods of 60-minute classes, which is a total of 180 minutes. Every Monday, research has been developed to prepare the materials and the resources for the classes of the week. Well, first of all, I had to talk with the parents to explain and give them information about the virtual classes. At the same time, I asked them for authorization letters to take photos of the classes and the students. I have also given them tuitions to those students who need it, either to understand a topic or for school assignments. These students have been evaluated through 2 forms, which are diagnostic and formative forms. At the end of the month, a closing activity have been arranged so that they can present what they have learned. And also, I have also given them certificates for participation. Classes through Zoom platform. Okay, I have chose this platform because I have already worked with it. I feel really comfortable when I use this platform. And also my students told me that they have experience with this platform. And the best part of this platform is that it can be used with different in different ways. For example, it can be used with smartphones, laptops, even desk phones. So students have many ways to enter the class, and it offers different formats. For example, I have used the webinar meeting format. It offers me sharing desktop, sharing presentations and videos, use whiteboards, etc. I have also used different virtual resources as Gmail, WhatsApp, PowerPoint, YouTube, SlideShare. Okay, the main methodology I have used is the audiovisual methodology. It is a device which can be used to make the learning experience more concrete, more realistic, and more dynamic. I have used this methodology to teach EFL students. Those students cannot understand this language, cannot understand English as they understand their mother tongue. Therefore, teaching of English becomes difficult. So in the teaching of language, my main purpose was to give a clear information and to enable an effective and interesting lesson. I believe that such type of teaching makes the idea permanent in pupils' mind. I have also used gamification methodology with the help of some virtual games as Duolingo, and also use different resources as flashcards, audio clips, and worksheets. My planning format. Okay, my planning is based on the content around the world. The main material I have used is a story which is called Where's Claire. It's a modern and it's a story, a modern adventure story. Okay, with this story, I was able to teach them reading, vocabulary, grammar, spelling. The learning objective for my students were to use critical thinking skills to identify countries and their languages. For that, I taught them this key vocabulary that you can see, countries, languages, amusement park rides. Talk about what there was, there wasn't. For example, in the part of key grammar, we have examples. I used to ask them after they read the story, of course. I used to ask them, was there a swimming pool at your hotel? And they used to answer, yes, there was. Read, understand, and act out a story. After they read the story, I ask them questions so that I can know if they have understand everything or if do I need to explain it one more time. And the last objective, plan an amusement park. As I said before, at the end of the month, a closing activity has been done, which is the presentation of their amusement parks. Spelling, compound nouns. I taught them this spelling because the story had many compound nouns as ferry wheels or roller coaster. Literacy elements, predict story content from title and pictures. Interpret and personalize the theme of the story. Add description to your writing. Okay, basically here, before giving them the story, the whole story, I gave them the extract of the story so they can use their imagination and guess the answers. And after that, of course, I gave them the story so they can check their answers. Here is a video. Here is a video that I would like to share with you. This is one of the presentations. Okay, because of technical problems, maybe the video doesn't have any sound. So let's continue. Okay, if I talk about my experience, I have only one word to describe it: awesome. I have learned so many new things. I have really enjoyed my student and my teaching experience, despite of all its hardship and challenges. At the end, I have realized that all those things that my professors have taught me is for a reason. I was able to use those things to give my classes. So, and I am really grateful because my student appreciated my efforts the efforts that I placed in every class, day in and day out. You know that feeling when they told you, teacher, I love you, teacher, thank you, please continue with the classes. That's the most awesome feeling. So I feel proud of myself. And I feel like in future, I can confidently walk to a classroom and be teaching with confidence. At the end, I would like to thank my family and my husband for supporting me. And I would like to thank teacher Annette for her support and for her guidelines. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Samiha. Thank you, Samiha, for sharing with us your experience. And don't worry for the technical problems. Everything is over. Okay, so it's okay. So thank you for your presentation. We continue then with the next student will be Benilda, and she's asking maybe on the screen to log in because she's using a different a different device. So I don't know if she's asking to give you permission. If it's possible to provide permission to her so she can present from other device.
Milen, la estudiante Benilda está tratando de entrar por otro equipo, a ver si no puedes permitir que entre, por favor. A Anel, ¿le parece que mientras que arreglamos eso, pasamos con otro estudiante?
Yes, okay. Next student will be Anais from group 26. Anais Montes. Is there? Are you ready? Yes.
Yes, I am.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. I'm going to share with you my experience with my professional practice. The decision of the Ministry of Education to suspend classes throughout the country affected us directly because the schools were closed, so we couldn't continue. So I want to thank ISAI University to take the decision of giving us the opportunity to make virtual classes of reinforcement. This decision contributes to society and also help us to achieve our goals. At the beginning, it was hard for me to find students, but then I did. At first, I thought the students would be apathetic because they had a lot of free time during the days that we did these groups, but it wasn't like that. For my surprise, they were happy to study in our classes. I had 6 students from different schools in Panama City. The platform that I choose for my synchronic classes, it was Zoom. Also, I use WhatsApp to communicate with parents. I use Google Classroom to organize and prepare my classes, not to use it with them, but it was helpful for me because I organized all the material before a class and I was ready to share with them. I use it like a personal agenda. The didactic resources that I used Kahoot. This is a tool of gamification, really helpful for teachers because students are playing, but at the same time, they are reinforcing the concepts. Also, I use YouTube for videos and songs. I use pages like British Council. That page has a lot of resources that we can use to teach. I use Quizlet. I use Quizlet for vocabularies. I made a lot of cards with Quizlets, and students practice all the times they wanted. I use Google Slides to make presentations, to present all the materials because we didn't have books. The methodology strategy that I used EFL, English as a Foreign Language, with a lot of visuals, short videos, songs, and fun activities. Also, I use the audiolingual approach. I modeled the language to my students so they could hear and repeat. Here in the pictures, you can see some of the slides that I prepare for them. For the contents, I use Meduca's program of 5th grade with the topic Culture and Tradition, Holidays, Regional Food, and Historic Places. For the grammatical part, we reinforce nouns, adjectives, there is, and there are. Also, we practice reading comprehension. By not being present in the classroom, I did all resources virtual to avoid students having to make prints or sending me pictures. I use Google Forms, so students fill the form, and then the answers came directly to my drive. I received the answers in a sheet where I can see the answer for every question and the name of the student. For the last task, they did a PowerPoint presentation. Some of them did a Google slide where they presented information that we studied during the classes. They shared their screen like we are doing now, and they share their opinions. They talk in that last task. Here I am presenting an example of the Google slide that a student did. Like a personal analysis, I think that virtual classes are the best option we have in this pandemic time, since it allows students to continue their studies. While we were doing our classes were suspended. One mom told me that the classes 1 month before Meduca starts again on July 20 help their kids to practice and to be prepared. This experience through this project exceed my expectations. For suggestions, I think that once we return to classroom, we must continue to involve technology in our lessons. This is very important when we come back. For conclusions, we show that we are able to give answers to students with suspended classes. Also, we show that virtual education is possible in Panama with positive results. And teachers, we are capable of adapting to changes and reinventing ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Anais, for your experience. I know it was great. Thank you. Okay, we continue. I don't know if Benilda it's already connected.
Yes, teacher, I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead then.
Well, let me push in. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Benila Tuñón, and I would like to present my final project, reforming project. So this project was totally online because of the COVID-19. So that was the way that I developed it. I had 0 students from the Arraiján, Bacamonte, and Santa Clara, from the college, from the schools, Santa Clara, Centro Básico General, and Colegio Bellas Luces. Our schedule was from Monday to Friday, 2 hours per day. My kids were from the age to 8 and 10 years, 9 years old. So as I said before, the project was in a digital, in an online way. We use a lot of digital resources like Google Classroom, we use Google Meet, I use a lot of YouTube, Kahoot, and Google Calendar. All those apps are from Google Tools. So the parents doesn't have any problems with these apps because they already knew how to use each one because already they are from Google. Okay, let me present you from here. I'm having some problems with it.
Okay, leave it in the other mode. Yes, and this one, and just scroll down. Yes.
It's a PDF.
Yes.
So I was talking about the digital resources that I use in this project, and we use a lot of Kahoot because this is an interactive app for the students to develop each topic in this way. They really enjoy using this app because that let them play and also learn at the same time. So we have more digital resources like Google Classroom, where my classroom were developed. I have all the topics there, and they could see it at any times. The methodologies that I used in this project was EFL. As far as we are not an English-speaking country, I use a lot of these methodologies, and I combine it using the audiolingual method and approach method and Suggestopedia. I really enjoy using oral approach because it's letting the students to know basic vocabulary so they can use it as well in their life. So Suggestopedia, I really love it, this method, because it involves a lot of images, a lot of colors. The students really like this type of classes where you have a lot of colors, you have a lot of didactic things for them. So the content that I taught in this course was from the Meduca planning, the official Meducan planning. And as soon as they were from third grade, I used breathings, feelings and emotions, and weather. We talk about all those topics while I was developing my project. So here are some examples, the PowerPoints that I developed with my students so they can watch it and they can see it with me. I used a lot of GIF in my presentation. Here you cannot see it because it's a picture, but in my presentation, I use a lot of GIF because putting GIF in the presentations calls the students' attention so good. And they really like it, like, wow, teacher, how it's moving. I was like, yeah, this is moving. And here are from some presentations from the emotions and feelings. They enjoy this topic because we are able to share to each other how they were feeling and how they do, what they do when they feel something like scared, when they feel grateful, and we enjoy developing this topic. My last topic was about weather. I really like this topic because here in Panama we have a weird weather. So sometimes can be sunny, sometimes can be raining, and the students were like, "Teacher, that's true because we have a weird weather here in Panama." So we talk about double use questions here and describing the weather. So here are some results from my project. The students were not forced to give me any homework, but they did it at the end. I was so grateful to them to showing me they really enjoy the classes that I was developing to them. So here's an example from feelings and emotions. As well, I have from readings and, oh, sorry, for readings and, gosh, and readings and emotions. As well, I have some pictures from the homeworks of the weather. Here are some draw they made for the feelings and emotions. I really like this draw. That was for my little girl from my classes. So my personal thoughts and suggestions. So at the first, I was like, oh my God, how I'm gonna do this? That's so hard. I'm so new in this and these things. I was expecting to deliver my classes, my internship in a present way with a classroom, but by the circumstance, I have to do it virtual. So I started looking for resources about how to develop a class through an online way. As the classes were going on, I started learning so much things about kids, about the behavior, and also as well as all the things that I learned from my teachers at university, I apply it to my online classes. So my suggestions are, so the government must have more internet connection for those students who aren't able to have it. So my students live in a rural area, so sometimes our internet was so bad because the area where we live. So the government should be more aware of letting students to have access to internet, because this is not it's something like they can have, they must have to keep learning to develop their lives, the students. So I really enjoyed this project with my students. The experience was wonderful, amazing. That's something that I won't forget never. So for closing, I would like to read it to us this cute. Tell me and I forget. Involve me and I learn. Teach me and I remember. Angry from Green Gables. So for ending it, I would like to say the best way you can share something is sharing your knowledge, because sharing your knowledge, you are sharing everything. So thank you to my teacher, Annette Duarte, and thank you to I would like to thank to my families and my friends. So thank you.
Great, Benilda. Thank you for sharing your experience and your lovely emotions about your experience. Has been wonderful. Okay, we continue then with the next students. It will be then Josue Betancourt from Group 26. Are you ready?
Yes, teacher, I'm here. I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon, dear college and professor. My name is Josue Betancourt. Today I want to present you my project degree of the Faculty of Education and Humanities of Visayas University. I want to start my presentation with a short introduction about this. Sorry. Okay, teaching represents a challenge when it comes to finding new dynamics and a way to transmit our knowledge to others, especially in times when information is almost immediate and our socialization dynamics have changed. Virtual education is one of the newest teaching methods today and use technology to educate remotely, eliminating the barriers of distance and why not times. Our project consists of provide English language reinforcement to young people and children for a month completely virtually, where we had to adapt teaching method to the digital age. The virtual learning resource that I use for can teach at my student was Zoom, Google Meet, Classroom, and Live Worksheet. For that, we had to investigate different technological tools and choose the most efficient and easy to use the parents and students. Why? When I began the practice, some parents called me they expressed they problematic with the use of some technological tools. So I have to decide change the method and change the platform. In this case, I had to change. For example, the number one was Meet, Google Meet. Reading this research, I would like to highlight the use of Google Classroom tools, which allows the creation of online teaching material with different tools within its menu. And also I want to highlight the Live Worksheet, which is a platform created by teacher for teacher to make worksheet in an interactive way to completely online. With this platform, the student can resolve their assignment or their task online, sign their computer, sign their cell phone, wherever the tool that they want to use for resolve this. And doesn't is necessary can print the sheet. No, with this application can be possible resolve every task online. Methodology or strategy. The audiovisual method is a teaching model designed for teaching, learning English to beginners. It gives priority to oral language without neglecting writing language. Also, I decide transform or use, adaptate the Bloom taxonomy that is consists in creating, evaluating, analyzing, applying, understanding, and remembering. Everything I use for can teach all my topics. And also is of the hand with the EFL, that is English is a foreign language, is learning English in a non-English speaking country. My didactic content was the ABC, the numbers 1 to 20, feeling and emotion, personal pronouns plus verb to be, and the family members. I decided to reinforce my students in this subject because they did not go into them well during their first school years. There was a deficit in the identification of each subject or topics. My evidence of didactic content was, I want in this part, I want to share you my experience because in the ABC, I use that for can obtain the texting result, I use the Google form. If you can see in the first picture, you have, you can see some graphic with the result of all the students. These are, have the result of 6 students. The next one, numbers 1 to 20, I use the live worksheet. In this case, the student just has to choose the correct word and put in the blank space of the number, of the correct number. Everything just is through computer or cell phone. And feelings. In this topic, the student just have to write 3 times the word. For example, the first is silly or angry. In this case, they just have to print the sheet. The next one is personal pronouns plus verb to be and family members. In the last one picture, I create a worksheet that is where the student can listen and write the missing vowel in the blank space in the first part. And in the second part, the student just have to match the word with the pictures. My personal experience, okay. I can define this with 4 words: challenge, creativity, development, and satisfaction. I choose these 4 phrases. Chinese was a challenge for me to have to adapt that we learned to the virtual order, use creativity to create material and capture that student attention, develop interactive classes, and in this end, get satisfaction for each fruit of my effort, reflecting what the student learned. My suggestion, okay. I have 3 words for this part because I think that is very important that all the university and inside university have to innovate, have to train, and they have that capacitate the different student with different technological tools. Innovate with a new topics aimed at virtual education. Train a student in this topic and provide different technological tools in the use of 2.0 network. And to finish my presentation, I want to share a beautiful phrases of Albert Einstein, that is, everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live a whole life believing that it is stupid. So for finish, I just want, I want to thank to my mom, to my dear professor, Ana Duarte, for their dedication to us. So I think that we have the power to can change the destiny of our life. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Josue, for your great experience that you have just shared with us. We continue then with Clifford from group 25. Okay, so go ahead, Clifford. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Good afternoon, teacher and invited audience. My name is Clifford Reed. I am from the technician class number 25. And for me, it's a pleasure to be here and share my experience in this wonderful project. In my project, I had the opportunity of giving reinforcement classes to students of 9 years old. All of them located almost in the same area, but from different schools around Chilibre. Classes were held Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from 3:15 p.m. until 4 p.m. The students had the opportunity to use technology a lot because several pages, videos, and images were used. I had a great communication in a group chat with the parents, and thanks to their help, screenshots of the activities assigned to the students could get to me. The platform I used to be able to communicate with them was Zoom. And Zoom, for me, have everything that a teacher needs. Do you know that there is a lot of pages that you can use to teach? This that I have on the screen are some of the many that I use to help me and to help students. I was surprised. We as teachers have more material than we can imagine. The methodology that I decided to use was audio-visual. But why did I decide to use this methodology? Well, I believe it was so appropriate, taking advantage that this was a virtual project in which my goal was for my classes to be interesting, dynamic, and effective. And as the word says it, through the use of audio and visual presentation, it helps my students to remember the concepts for a long period. Also, the use of audiovisual material helps in maintaining discipline in the class, since all students' attention focus on the goal, that is learning. One point that I want to highlight is that I try as hard as I could to use EFL materials, because as I was taught, EFLs is applied to those studying English in their own country. And that was the case of my students. They are learning a foreign language in their country. For my classes, I used two of the topics found in the Meduca curriculum. That was transportation, communication, and WH questions, dividing the first one in means of transportation and means of communication. I choose this topic because using them will allow me to give a complete class taking into consideration the four skills: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Here are some of the assignments that my students were able to complete. Certainly, I have to thank the parents a lot, because sometimes when working at some activities, as soon as the classes ended, parents send me the screenshots that makes my job easier. In my personal experience, I will say that dedication, commitment, and enrichment will be three words that will summarize my experience. Before considering the idea of teaching students virtually, it was a challenge for me, something very scary to think of, and maybe hard to believe. I thought it was going to be a failure because, as you can see, day one, I started only with 3 students from 7 that were on my list. And that certainly was very, very disappointed for me. To my surprise, during the way, 2 more joined us. And at the end, 5 students formed part of my class. I was able to handle all the classes with the best of my abilities in a way that even the students recognize that your school teachers should teach them in the same way that I did. Comments like those changed the way I felt before starting this project. And it proved to myself that I was capable of doing more than I thought. In the end, it was a wonderful experience virtually sharing with them, something that teaches you a lot. And now more than ever, that technology is part of our daily lives. As a suggestion, only one I have. Teachers should impart the subject that they are assigned to. What do I mean by that? Well, many of these teachers I had, their classes were very different from what they were supposed to impart to us. And when the following subject came, the teacher from that specific subject will ask us if we did not learn anything in that previous class, but if it was because of what I just mentioned. We were not taught what we're supposed to. And that is a suggestion that I would give. To conclude, the best teachers are the ones that change your minds. Terry Hyde. As teachers, we must be prepared for everything. There are a lot of teachers now that are struggling because of technology, but due to the circumstances, they don't have any option. But technology is our friend on this journey that is teaching. Please do not misunderstand me. Books are also part of our tools as teachers, but we must recognize that if we do not catch up with technology, we will be like teachers, very up to date. Thank you very much.
Many thanks, Clifford, for your outstanding presentation. We are almost in the last track of this journey. Okay, and the next student and the last one will be Gabriela de Gracia from group 26. Are you ready, Gabriela? Hello, Gabriela? Yes. Are you there? Can you share your screen? Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gabriela de Gracia. I want to tell you about my experience in professional practice. My children grade is kinder. I have 5 students. The school of the students are Bilingüe Panamá, Don Bosco, and Cristo de los Milagros. Okay. The didactic resource used for my virtual classes was the Google Meet platform, YouTube, and I set up the WhatsApp group with the parents to have the good communication and send them their words. Okay. My content, I wear colors, I use these same charts, vowels, gradings, finally the family. Use pictures like this. I have here in my classes, I told them stories, and I will put up some short videos. Here we see my children. Picture taken by their parents. I have 2 students with mental retardation. I have to make adjustment for them, and it was a very good experience since their parents were happy with what they're learning in my classes. So my personal analysis in this pandemic that we're living, I thank the ISAI University for this beautiful opportunity that we had, since it's the part of our learning within the education environment. So I recognize this project accepts my expectation, okay? And my suggestion, and I suggest that our government help those children who don't have to resort to obtain the means to give the virtual classes. And I would like you to include my children who have this type of problem.
Okay, Gabriela, did you hear me? Okay, Gabriela, are you there? Okay, well, it seems that she's having like issues with the connection, and it's a pity because she had a video that a parent recorded especially to give thanks to the ISAI University in order for the opportunity given to their child to participate or be part of this project. Maybe the fact that Gabriela mentioned that we have to include everyone and all students, and we also have those cases in this project. We had the opportunity to provide classes to kids with some disabilities, but at the end, we go ahead with them. Okay, well, since this is the last participant, I really thanks to everyone to be here, to all my students. I feel very proud about you. Okay, it has been a long journey, and thanks to the site to give us the chance to learn, because it has been a learning experience this last month and a half that we have been, you know, looking for resources, different things, and I told them that at the end, the experience we gain, we win. It was a win-win experience. So thank you. It's all that I can say. I'm really happy and satisfied with the results of this group.
Okay, I could not keep my mouth shut because I'm really surprised. I'm overwhelmed by all this presentation that you people have presented today. I commend you on this, and I really, I take off my hat for you, and I give you a standing ovation for all this job that you have presented today. I knew in all my heart that you would do a good job, guided by the hand of Professor Annette Duarte, and this is the result. You're doing a very professional job. And what can I say? You're my colleagues now, okay? So from now on, you are being colleague of mine, okay? Thank you very much for, as I mentioned before, believing in us. Now we're going to have the closing words by Professor René Atencio, our Director of the Academic Area.
Buenas tardes a todos. Bueno, mi inglés no está como para presentarse, así que mejor me expreso en español. Los quiero felicitar de corazón. En realidad ha sido enriquecedor. Se han esmerado, igual que los compañeros de ayer, que era de profesora en primaria, me parece, profesora Celi, creo que era así. Se han realmente los dos grupos, comparando el de ayer con el de hoy, están a la par, presentaciones muy buenas, excelentes. Espero que todas estas experiencias vividas las vuelquen ustedes al momento de presentarse ante las aulas de clase, ya sean virtuales o sean presenciales, si es que ya no están ya dando sus clases. Sigan así, muchachos. Tienen que seguir estudiando, tienen que seguir proyectándose. Ustedes son muy jóvenes, la vida que tienen por delante es muy larga. Tienen para construir aquí toda una serie de aptitudes, conocimientos, títulos que los van a ustedes le van a garantizar puestos muy buenos en la docencia. Los felicito, ha sido muy bueno. Yo les voy a decir la verdad, habían estudiantes que a unos les entendían más que otros, pero si saco un promedio, yo creo que yo les entendí casi como el 40% de lo que hablaban. Hay palabras, frases, y uno construye la idea enseguida en el cerebro, pero como me habla muy rápido, allí ya cuando quiero ya ver qué dijo la siguiente frase, ahí ya el cortocircuito y me quedé lento. Sigan así adelante, profesor Brito, lo felicito, profesor Annette. Yo siempre he sido uno de sus fans. realmente, profa, porque yo sé que usted es una excelente docente. Y bueno, también felicidades y felicitaciones a todos, a la profesora Ulina, a la profesora Celi, que hemos siempre construido este proyecto y que no realmente no nos arrepentimos de haberlo puesto en práctica. Saludos, adelante y por favor se cuidan del bichito ese que anda por ahí.
Profesora Molina, ¿alguna otra palabras de cierre?
No pensaba hablar, pero bueno, voy a decirles algo. It all begins with a teacher. Teachers paint the minds of children and guide their thoughts through the word, share their achievements and advise their faults once they can inspire love in their daily work. Acknowledge and truth as you light the pot of each way in your classroom, which leads our youth and our kids for that future brightness. With each lesson that you have taught in this project, each smile you have lengthened, each goal that you have reached, for the dawn of each one of you in that classroom, we surely know and we are grateful for the work you have done.
Muchas gracias, profesora Olina, por esas palabras. Profesor René Atencio, colega profesora Celis, por estar con nosotros. Como dijo el profesor René, los grupos, tanto el de ayer como hoy, nos han sorprendido de ese profesionalismo que han presentado en el día de hoy. Amén de que muchos no tienen la experiencia en estar en un aula de clase. ¿Ya? Y yo me he quedado maravillado. Me han dado lecciones. ¿Ok? Y realmente los felicito a cada uno de ustedes por esa labor que han realizado en el día de hoy. Tanto en los grupos de la profesora Celis como el grupo de inglés. Yo siempre creí en ustedes. ¿Ya? Y hemos visto el resultado. Muchas gracias. Bueno, eso es todo por hoy, señores.